Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar. And I hope people have joined the call, so we can start now. So today's webinar, we are focusing on one of our key offering, which is improved tracking and monitoring of your fixed assets. So this will be the agenda of today's webinar that we will present. So we will go with a small introduction about GCG, what is our current offering, and then we talk about the different challenges faced by organizations with reference to the fixed asset tracking of their assets. Then what is the solution that we offer? What are the features of our solution? Types of different flavors of solutions that we offer and as far as fixed asset management is concerned. Our approach to project execution, how do we tackle different projects based on our experience? Finally, some use cases in different industries. What is the application of these solutions in different industries? And we will also give you a brief about one of the case studies we did with the government. And finally, the benefits of the solution. So I would rather like to keep this session interactive. So in case if you have any questions, I have my moderator here, Radha, who is also present, and you can put in a message and she can unmute and you can ask me any questions during the call, during this presentation, and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions. So let's begin now. So I think most of you are aware of GCG, Gulf Commercial Group. So we are part of Ghubash group of companies. Ghubash is a conglomerate with interest in different verticals, right from IT to retail, pharmaceutical, and food and hospitality, real estate and construction. So Ghubash is present across all these verticals with around 13 companies as part of the group. GCG is one of the oldest members of this group, established in 1982. We have grown from the time we started selling different types of trading different types of IT equipments, today to being a complete digital transformation provider offering end-to-end solutions, right from capture, printing to the entire document lifecycle. So we currently are operating in 3 countries. We are present in UAE, we are present in Oman, and we have recently opened up our office in Saudi Arabia as well. We have more than 4 decades of experience, 200 qualified resources working across these 3 countries. And we are very proud to have been served more than 2,000 plus customers in this region. GCG has various divisions as part of you can say different business units as part of GCG. You can see now on the screen there is emerging technology mainly focused on the education sector, offering interactive smart boards. We are distributors of ViewSonic, Samsung, and we offer smart technologies for the education sector. Then we have print services. So under the print, we are distributor of Kyocera, where we offer the entire range of Kyocera printing solutions. We are also distributors of Ricoh, which is the production printing solution. And we offer end-to-end, right from leasing to printing, services, consumables, the entire 360-degree of print services. We also have business services under this segment. We offer consulting services. We offer business process outsourcing, software development. So we offer these type of solutions under the business services business unit. We have another unit which is into building automation, where we offer AV solutions, CCTV, access control, queue management, time and attendance. These are the type of solutions we offer under the building automation segment. Finally, the enterprise solution. So this is the segment where I belong. And we specialize in offering transformation solutions for large enterprises. where we can help them on how to use these digital technologies in order to automate their internal processes, automate paper-based processes, right from the capture to entire workflow management, business process management, end-to-end automation. Enterprise solution, this gives you a detailed snapshot about the different offerings that we have under the enterprise solutions, right from document scanning and capture solutions. So we are partners with GScan, we partners with Kofax and other capture technologies, right from mobile capture, etc. So we offer multiple turnkey solutions in capture, whether it's desktop, whether it's distributed capture, whether it's bulk scanning. So we offer various types of technologies there. We do custom application development in different technologies like .NET and Java. So depending on the scope of the customer, we can offer complete application development services. Under consulting, we offer, we have very experienced resources, part of our team, and also external consultants that are available to us who offer consulting services in order to assess what's your current IT landscape, what are the challenges currently faced by your organization, how we can bridge the gap. We do detailed gap analysis, and then we consult and we provide you with the best fit technology for your organization that will enable you to to transform, and it will enable you to go paperless. So these are part of our consulting services as part of our projects. Then we do business analytics and visualization. We use technologies like Power BI. We use technologies like SAS. ClickSense. So multiple tools are available, which gives you interactive smart dashboards, predictive analysis that can enable you to make smart decision making. Under workflow and process automation, we have partnerships with leading technology companies like M-Files, like Nintex. So depending on your environment, we will propose the best fit solution to automate your internal workflows and process automation. Coming back to asset management, so that's today our subject. So we will go through a detailed approach about asset management shortly. And finally, content management. So we offer 360-degree content management to manage your documents, audiovisual files, your large drawings, multiple type of content that's available in the organization, and how it can be managed, how it can be tracked with proper audit trail, with proper governance as to managing the retention period of these documents. So we have such tools that can enable you to manage this content as per the best practice of the industry. So now coming to our subject of asset management. Initially, I would like to highlight what are the different types of challenges that are faced by organizations in terms of managing their fixed assets. So highlighted on my screen, you can see some examples, common examples or challenges faced by organization. For example, ghost assets. So what is ghost assets? This is when you are a very large enterprise and you have many assets that are distributed across different branches. Take, for example, a very large bank like Emirates NBD may have a very, very large pool of assets, maybe in thousands, maybe 50,000 assets, fixed assets that are spread across all their branches. And there could be a lot of these assets, and these assets require maintenance and services, etc. So there could be a scenario where you are in fact paying some insurances on these assets, whereas physically these assets may not be available, or they are non-usable, or they are scrapped out. But because of the absence of having a proper systems in place, you are still undergoing some type of taxes, some type of insurances on these assets, some types of maintenance services that you engage your service providers to so you actually end up paying for the entire asset volume, whereas you actually don't have In the absence of a system, you don't have a track as to how many are the physical count of the assets that are present in your premises. So you don't have the exact tracking. So you end up paying more money in for maintenance of these assets. Lack of control. So due to incomplete information, having incomplete data as to who's the custodian of these assets or where these assets are available, you end up paying and buying new assets. You can see even in the last point it's mentioned about duplicate purchases. So what happens is that since you don't have a tracking of what's available to you and what's free and what can be reused, you end up buying new assets, and your cost increases. And then poor tracking of assets. Assets are moved from one custodian to the another custodian. Sometimes it returned back to IT, talking about IT equipments like laptops, mobile phones, etc. And sometimes it gets misplaced. Sometimes critical information can be jeopardized because of not having a proper tracking in place. So these are typical challenges that are faced by organizations when they manage their fixed assets. So what do we do? So we offer our customized, custom-built asset management solution. So we have been very successfully deployed this with you can say more than 50 plus customers across the region, and they are very happy with this solution and how we. Seeing on my screen, you can see the different types of features that are offered by our solution. So we offer the entire life cycle management of the asset. So when I say life cycle management, it's right from the time you procure the asset, you make an entry into your financial or your ERP system that an asset is already purchased, and then you need to track this asset. So what we do is we usually barcode this asset in order, and we take an entry of this asset depending on the type of what class of this asset is, whether it's a furniture, whether it's a fixture, it's an IT equipment, whether it's a it's an ELV system, audio-visual system, or it's a pump, etc. So depending on the type of the asset, we classify and we register this asset in our system. Then you are able to do mass additions in case you want to open a branch. You have a lot of furniture and fixtures, so you have the feature where you can add these assets in bulk, and you can assign them a unique code, unique barcode for every asset. So to enable easiness of operation for you to do mass additions. Physical count. So we have a mobile application that's available with our software, which can be used in order to do periodic physical count in warehouses and branches where you want to physically scan these assets. You can do that using our mobile devices. We are able to do tracking, so there is entire process. It's governed by a process on our software, where once the assets have to be transferred, where it has to be destroyed, it has to be moved, everything requires a certain approvals process, and this can be customized based on your organization's policies and procedures, so that you have a proper tracking right from the time it's registered till the time it is purged or destroyed. You have a complete tracking of your assets. Custody control. So it means that who is the custodian of this asset. So you are able to, this is a very important feature where you are also able to assign certain cost centers. So let's say assets are managed by operations department or by marketing department or by finance department. So the people who are using this assets, so that falls under the cost center of that department. So this also helps you to, one is to control who's the custodian of the assets in case of missing assets, in case of governance wise, you have a custodian in place, but you are also able to track the cost of these assets, the depreciated value of these assets, and you are able to assign these costs to different cost centers in your organization. Workflow approvals in case of moving of assets, in case of destruction of assets, you have a workflow process as part of our software, where you can get once you want to destroy certain assets or move them, you require certain approval process. Once the approval is done, you will then be able to move the asset. So this ensures that the proper controls are put in place whenever you want to move or destroy or add new assets. Depreciation, so this is an added feature that's available in the application. If you like, we can enable this. Modern ERP systems have depreciation which is built in as part of their ERP process, but if you like, we can also do different types of depreciation methods using our application. Maintenance management, in case of you have in plant and machineries, you have certain machines, certain pumps, certain air conditioning equipments which require periodic maintenance schedule. So you are able to manage that schedule. You are able to do proactive and reactive maintenance of these assets, so that you can keep them always up and running, so that they can service you as per your requirement. Cutting edge mobile app, we already discussed about this. And then talking about barcode, barcode is one of the, it's a 1D or 2D type of labels. You can also have different other technologies like RFID, like QR codes. So each of them come with different type of features. So we suggest the best fit depending on the use case and the environment, and where the for example, open areas like oil fields, or on construction sites. So there could be a different type of technology that may be proposed depending on the use case that we are talking about. So these are the various components of our asset management system. Finally, reports and dashboards. So we can produce different types of reports that are required for you, for your management, in order to review the status of assets, and different types of reports that are required. So types of solutions. So this is in general. So we spoke about what are the features generally about asset management systems. But now talking about types of solutions, we have different types of flavors of solutions. So this is the standard base system that we spoke about, wherein you can track your assets, where you can get your alerts about warranty management, depreciation, but you have more advanced flavors of systems depending on your requirement. So one of the flavors is inventory management. So let's say I have come across many customers who talk about managing their stores, managing their consumables, managing their spare parts. So this is another flavor of asset man, though it's not assets, but it's inventory. So in inventory, you need to be able to register assets using, for example, you have your suppliers who are providing you all these inventory items, and then you should be able to receive these items. So there is a receiving system where you are able to receive this item. You should be able to assign a location of these items, whether it is in warehouse 1, warehouse 2, it is on which shelf of the warehouse. So you are able to assign a location of these inventory. And finally, you want to consume this inventory. So different departments are going to use this stationery or these consumables or spare parts. So how are you going to release these items? They are released against a work order, they are released against a certain approval process, and then they are charged to that particular department depending on how it is released. So there can be multiple scenarios. So we have a very powerful inventory and warehouse management system where you can accurately track your inventory, have a location bin management system for your inventory, and you are able to keep accurate stock. And this is right. So many advantages, like let's say you maintain a particular inventory and there is a certain minimum quantity of stock that you need to maintain, and you can get automatic alerts once your stock is going below a certain threshold minimum quantities. You can automatically get alerts. We can even schedule reminders to your suppliers where they can immediately fulfill that inventory into your warehouse or into your store. So I mean, there are a lot of possibilities, and we'll be very happy to engage with you in case if you have any such requirements. We'll be very happy to engage and to understand your requirement to propose the right fit solution. If you have any questions so far, I'll be happy to address these questions anytime. Another flavor of our asset management is facility management system. So this is mainly used in case of assets that require a very high maintenance, like I mentioned earlier, plant and machineries. Talking about hospitals, you have X-ray machines, you have the MRI machines, etc. Talking about typical, let's say take an example of residential or commercial buildings. You have pump rooms inside, you have electrical air conditioning systems. So these are the systems where you would require to have a proper maintenance of these assets. So these are not just tracking, because these assets don't move from their locations. They are fixed into the into your buildings or into your premises, but it requires constant maintenance. So we offer this type of solutions, whether it is, let's say it's a real estate company and it wants to have a control, a system in place where all its assets are all registered on its facility management system, and then it wants to have access, it wants to provide access to all their contractors and subcontractors. Let's say contractors like cleaning equipments, contractors like plumbing, electricians, different types of contractors who do maintenance of these assets. So it wants to provide an access to these people so that they are able to do so. All these features you can easily do through the computer aided facility management. It's also called as CAFM system provided by us. So you are able to periodically you are able to schedule periodic jobs on how the management of or maintenance of these schedules are in place, when the contractors are supposed to be visiting the sites, when they are able to where they are able to fix these assets and maintain them. You can also track the spare parts that are going inside, the cost of these spare parts, and because the suppliers will want to charge you for these spare parts. Let's say they want to maintain an air conditioning system or a pump system, and they want to charge you for this. So there is a proper process where a certain work order is being issued from the system, and then spare parts are deployed. There is a delivery note, there is an invoicing process for this. So the entire system can be typically this system is most useful for facility management companies or large real estate companies who have a lot of assets and building assets, and they would want to maintain it. Even malls are a very good example where they would require a CAFM system in order to maintain all their assets across the mall. Another feature is service reports. So machines like X-ray machines, etc., they have a certain life based on the number of images that are taken. So these service reports are very important in order to see how many, because let's say, for example, a certain lamp has to be changed, or talking about printing devices, certain lamp is changed, or certain spare parts are required to be changed at certain interval depending on the number of clicks or number of instances they are used. And these service reports can be generated from the system based on what is the consumption of these assets, and accordingly we can manage the spare parts changing. Invoice and payment tracking. You can also have timesheet capability, workforce management. This is from the point of view of the facility management companies, where they have to they have to manage their entire workforce. They want to know what time they are entering different sites, when they are finishing from different sites, so that they are able to plan their fleet. So this is from the point of view of the facility management companies. Mobile job tracking, so you are able to assign jobs to your people, where whenever there is a certain maintenance activity or a request coming from a tenant, you are able to automatically assign a job to the electrician or the plumber or whoever in order to go and fix this at this particular apartment or commercial unit. Planned and reactive maintenance, we spoke about it. And finally, the KPIs and SLAs. So you want to manage your subcontractors and subcontractors based on certain SLAs that they should be responsible, based on their response time, based on the number of visits they are making. So all of this can be tracked using our facility management system. The next flavor is about RFID and RTLS solution. These are more advanced system. So talking about RFID, this is you can take an example of SALIC tags. So this is an example of UFID, which is ultra frequency, ID, that is RFID, that's available on your car. And then you have these SALIC gates that are available where you can, once you pass that particular gate, automatically it deducts an amount from your SALIC balance. So this is an example of an RFID tag and a use case of RFID. So there can be different types of use cases for healthcare, for oil and gas sector, where they want to track certain equipments that are moving in their yards, in their warehouses. They want to know whether this particular equipment is currently, or this particular machine or a forklift is in which yard, or it's in which warehouse. So they can easily track this using RFID, RTLS, satellite-based solutions. So there is a whole, this is a very, very technical and very deep subject. And let's say, so we can discuss based on the different types of requirements your customers can have, and then we can propose which will be the right fit solution for you. So now talking about our approach to a typical asset management project. So there are 4 phases of our project execution. So the phase 1 is our assessment, where we understand it's basically business requirement gathering, where we understand and assess what information we have on hand. Then we prepare a catalog about all your different assets that are available, and different masters, whether they are furniture fixtures, whether they are IT equipment, whether they are plant and machinery. So we categorize these assets into different catalogs, and what are the fields we need to capture depending on these type of assets. Finally, we undertake the actual tagging process. In case you require our services, we can put in data handlers on the our asset controllers, who can actually do the tagging exercise and capturing exercise of all your assets, and finally put all this data into our application. And finally, we reconcile. So reconcile between an asset list that's already available at your end, and between the physical list that we capture and we prepare, and then we reconcile that what are the new assets that we have found which are not available in your list, or missing assets, and we reconcile with your finance. So this gives you a more detailed understanding of our information gathering stage. So what we expect, what is the expectation from the customer, what is the output, current asset list that he has, what is the output that is expected from us, what are the standards to be followed, what are the type of labels that we are going to be affixing, whether we will use RFID tags or whether we use barcode labels, what is the format of these barcode labels, what is the series of these barcode labels. So we agree on these points during our assessment and information gathering exercise. We also take your current asset list, we analyze your current asset list, we see where are the gaps in terms of information completeness, and how do we need to tackle that. So this is the stage where we have a more it's like a workshop we have with the customer in order to assess your requirements. Then we spoke about asset cataloging. So we catalog, we define what your master catalog of your assets is. What are the different types of labels that we will be using for different types of assets. For example, let's say there are some kitchen equipments which require metal tags. Then there are some type of assets which require non-metal tags. So depending on the environment of these assets, we propose different types of tags that can be used, and we prepare a catalog. Then what are the descriptions we need to capture, what is the main category, subcategories, location identification, how do we categorize the different locations in your facility. So we agree on these points during our asset cataloging exercise. Then we have a physical count exercise. So we deploy a team of asset controllers on site, depending on the volume of assets that you have. we can put in a plan as to how many days or months or weeks it takes in order to complete the entire tagging process. Then we either go with pre-printed labels or printing of labels on the spot. We apply these labels on different assets. We use mobile application in order to read the different categories, enter the asset descriptions. We update the location of this asset, where is the physically where the asset is currently located, and we complete this entire process during our physical count exercise. During the data reconciliation, as we mentioned, so we have a list that's available during the start of the project from you. So there is an asset list that's available at your end because your finance is managing that. And then there is a physical count exercise that we have completed where we have tagged your assets. We have prepared a complete inventory of your assets across all your branches. And then we do a comparison between the asset list that you have and between asset lists that we have counted, and then we see where are the gaps in case of there is any missing assets, in case of addition or new assets. So we try to address these gaps in order to clean up this list, and we work with your finance closely in order to come up with the final reconciled asset list. And this asset list is what is imported into our application in order to to start this to start the management of these assets. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer here. Then we'll talk about use cases. So different types of use cases. Of course, there are many verticals and many different industries. Each of them, they have many use cases, but I've just highlighted a few just to to give you an idea about different use cases that are there in different industries. So talking about healthcare, they use asset management systems in order to track medical equipments. There are certain, let's say, machines which are very mobile, equipments that are mobile in the like mobile X-ray machines, like wheelchairs. So these are equipments which are mobile, which are going across your hospitals. And if you want to track where this, let's say wheelchair or where this medical equipment is, so it's very easy for you to track using our asset management system. So you can either use, for example, RFID based or RTLS based technology, which can use Bluetooth in order to track between the hospital where this asset is currently located, so that you can immediately get access to it. You can also get alerts. Let's say somebody is taking this wheelchair or this equipment outside your hospital, automatic alerts can be provided to you, and at the gates where this medical equipment is trying to this is moving out of your premises. Patient tracking. So this is a very there are patients who old patients or patients suffering with dementia. Dementia is a disease where patients forget where they are. They have a problem with their memory, and so you can have smart watches, you can have smart wristbands which are Bluetooth enabled, where you can track the movement of these patients, and for their own security, for tracking them, also tracking of newborn babies. So we can have smart watches that are linked to the mother, and so that you are able to track, you are even able to monitor different types of let's say you want to monitor the vitals of your baby, you are able to do that. So there are different types of use cases talking about patient tracking. Medication. Now, this is a very important subject. There are different types of medications, medications which are very sensitive to be used. So what type of bins you want to use them for, and you want to track when these medications are being moved. You also want to charge the patients depending on these high expensive medications when they're going out. So so that's a process for doing that. Also, you want to track the humidity and the temperature of how this medication is stored, so that, let's say, the temperature of it's supposed to be stored in a very, very cold environment, and let's say the temperature is slightly increasing, so you can get notifications using IoT technology, using different types of sensors. You are able to get notification when certain temperature of these medicines are dropping beyond an agreed threshold. This is just some examples of how it can be used for managing medication. Finally, inventory. So there is a large amount of inventory that's managed by hospitals, whether we talk about general stationery or consumable items or surgical equipments. So this inventory needs proper tracking, proper consumable management, and we can provide inventory systems which can help you, and this can integrate with your HIS or hospital information systems, so in order to track your consumables and items. Oil and gas, this is a big sector. You have different type of use cases here. Equipment tracking, again, different types of different types of equipments are used in usually in oil and gas space. It's a very, very big area where these equipments are moving, and in case you want to track these equipments, whether it's from the safety point of view or whether it is in order to schedule your jobs, you are able to do tracking of your equipment using different types of Bluetooth or RTLS or satellite-based tracking. So there can be different types of use cases depending on the environment where we can propose the right fit solution for your equipment tracking. Then there is workforce management. So let's say there is a huge amount of people working on construction sites, and if you want to track the people who are working, who are coming in, whether they are officially allowed to work in your premises, or there are unofficial people who are entering your sites. So you are able to track this using different types of tracking devices that can be put onto the workers. Also, you can very high risk sites where there is a risk of gas leakage, where there's a risk. So such environments, you want to track which are the employees who are entering those premises and at what times they are entering. So depending on the use case of the industry, we can propose different types of solutions to track these employees. Another use case is for mustering. So let's say you want to have exercises where you want to have in case of any disaster on the site, you want to know how many people are present there, and you want to do certain safety drills with them. And so this can be a lot more convenient because you can't count when there are hundreds and thousands of people available in these sites. You can't go ahead and count them one by one and can't follow a list. So we can easily track them using these devices, where as soon as they move from one location to another, automatically their status is updated. So we know which are the tags or which are the people who are not yet come to the safety point or not yet come to the mustering point. You are able to count them. Finally, COVID is a very important use case also for such industries, where you want to have certain contact tracing. Let's say you find somebody who becomes COVID positive, and you want to know which are the other people he has encountered during the last 2 days or 3 days, so that you can isolate them. You can easily do this using our smart watches or wristbands, Bluetooth enabled devices, where you are able to monitor and you are able to immediately identify which are the people who have encountered with this particular COVID case, and you are immediately able to call them and ask them to isolate, so that you further prevent the spread of the virus. So these are some examples of how you can use them in oil and gas and large industries. Another use case is with the governments. So we have implemented these systems with a couple of government entities in Abu Dhabi. So the typical challenges that we see is tracking of assets between the branches and departments, inventory management of their stores, consumables. They want to track warranty management, whether their assets are under warranty, are they under a maintenance schedule, who is supposed to maintain, what is the SLA. They want to also track documents linked to the purchase of these assets, service reports. So all that is available through our system. Finally, audit is a very important point. So these government departments, they have to undergo periodic audits every 6 months or 1 year in order to assess whether the assets are actually physically located in those premises, and they have to physically audit this by scanning these assets on these locations. So you are able to do that using our smart mobile applications. Finally, policy and procedures is a very important factor for them. They have certain policies for asset registration, certain policies for asset disposal, asset transfer. So so based on the organization policies, we are able to custom build our workflows as to how the approval process should work, and so that you can ensure proper tracking of your assets. Finally, as facility management, we discussed about this during our slide of CAFM management, computer-aided facility management. So how you are able to do workforce management, you are able to schedule jobs for them, you are able to do mobility solution, you are able to track which are periodic maintenance, which are reactive maintenances. You are able to manage the schedule of your people in order to plan your manpower on sites. Consumable management, so that you are able to keep enough consumables and spares available to you in order to manage these assets. And finally, to manage the reporting and the KPIs of all your resources. Here I've mentioned one example of a case study of a very large government entity, which is our customer, where we have implemented our solution. Currently, more than 100,000 plus assets are tracked. So it's an entity which is managing different types of schools, the public schools, and each of these schools have a very large volume of assets which requires to be tracked and managed. And more than 100,000 assets they had in stock, and they did not have a system in place to manage these assets. They wanted to track warranty, they wanted to track maintenance, custodian tracking, they wanted to have periodic asset audits. Very important factor, they wanted to have an interface with an ERP where any assets added in the ERP are automatically reflected in the asset management and vice versa. And finally, implement policy and procedures and workflows in order to manage asset lifecycle. So we provided them with our solution in order to, we reviewed, we understood all their requirements. We, based on our assessment requirement gathering phase, we prepared the asset catalogs. We did the entire tagging exercise where we tagged all their assets. We prepared a final inventory. We reconciled this inventory with their finance department. Then we built the business processes based on the different workflow rules we agreed with them for asset acquisition, transfer, and disposal. We integrated with their core ERP system, with the Department of Finance system, where the asset values are translated, where asset transfers, the new asset acquisitions, they are all managed. And finally, we trained their team in order to do periodic asset audits, and they are very happy with our system. So we are, we're acquiring more customers and the governments who feel that there is a strong need for this system. Finally, the benefits. So as you know, by implementing the system, you are able to extend the life of your assets by maintaining these assets throughout their lifespan. You can reduce maintenance costs because you know when the assets, through the service reports, you are able to track when they were last maintained, which type of spare parts needs to be changed. So you are able to monitor all this and reduce your maintenance cost. You are able to do check-in, check-out of your assets whenever they are going out for maintenance. You are able to track these assets. Audit and governance, policies and procedures. You are able to have a proper workflow, audit trail for movement of your assets. You are able to do periodic maintenance activities. And finally, all of this will result in productivity improvements for your employees and will give you the return on investment that you seek. So this concludes our presentation today. This is just giving you a snapshot about all our customers where we have offered enterprise software solutions to them. Some examples of asset management, it's implemented with DAS Holding, which is a very large group of companies. It's implemented with Abu Dhabi Education Council, with Dubai London Clinic and hospitals. So these are some of the examples where we have implemented our asset management systems. and we look forward to having your requirements, and we can support you with our expertise in this area. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer it now. So if there are no questions, then we conclude our session today. My email is, you can contact our account managers, or you can send me an email on murtuza.hussain@gcg.ae for any of your requirements. Thank you.